Hello everyone and welcome to the grand finale of the Tuning Village tournament. I don't have anything else to say, so let's get into it. But before we do, I just want to take a look at how each one of these competitors managed to make it here. So first off, there's D2V. In round 1, let's just say his respective race was very chaotic, while he was just chilling in the middle of everything. And that fact alone allowed him to easily make it into round 2, which was all the same. Where just like round 1, he managed to make it into round 3 by just chilling in the middle of everything that was going on. In round 3, however, D2V managed to score his very first victory despite literally getting bonked twice. While in the semi-finals, he still managed to dominate despite having economy tires equipped. And he managed to earn a first place for a while before HW pulled a last-second overtake on him and took the first place instead. But despite that, D2V still managed to make it to the finale. So congrats to him. Next, we have HW Stunt Track Driver. In round 1, the performance in his respective race was pretty decent. And he even managed to take first place due to Serial Killer doing AI fail moments. Then in round 2, HW managed to pull the easiest first place in history. Not because of skill, but rather because of the whole fast cars getting put in the front of the grid thing. In round 3, HW was just chilling as literal chaos unfolded around him. But luckily for him, that wasn't enough to stop him from getting another first place. And in the semi-finals, like I said earlier, he managed to pull a last-second overtake on D2V and take the first place for himself. And now we're about to see if HW manages to gain his 5th and most important victory. And then there's Julie Kanoto. In round 1, just like D2V, he was just chilling in the middle of everything. And just like D2V, that fact alone allowed him to get into round 2 very easily. And in round 2, he pretty much dominated the competition with racing super soft tires. And that allowed him to easily make it into round 3, where he was struggling a lot, as he was stuck behind Thunderstorm Gaming for most of the first lap and was struggling to catch back up to his competition. But the fact that What Is Love got bonked allowed him, alongside Fancy Wreck, to overtake him and make it to the semi-finals, where despite the fact that the faster cars caught up to him, he still managed to outlast them into the finale. Up next is Matt Jester, who's had a very interesting run in this tournament. In round 1, for most of the race, he was stuck behind Fancy Wreck, but he managed to overtake him at the end, easily managing to move on to round 2 and gaining a victory. In round 2, he pretty much managed to get the second easiest first place in history. Not much else to say there. In round 3, he managed to earn another victory despite getting bonked into oblivion twice. And in the semi-finals, the economy tires must have really screwed him over. I still can't get over the fact that he just casually fell into the pit lane. And by some miracle, he still managed to outperform Rosie Miranto and Fancy Wreck into the grand finale. Oh yeah, Night Drive is also here. And if I have to be honest, I don't think anyone expected him to make it this far. Anyways, at first, the expectations for the S2000 R1 weren't too high. But despite starting in last place, he still managed to make it into round 2 due to Apollo getting screwed over by the AI. Then in round 2, he managed to pull a very intense battle against Serial Killer, which he ended up losing in the end, but still managed to make it into round 3, where he was struggling just as much, if not more so, than round 1. But the fact that Serial Killer got bonked at the end allowed Night Drive to overtake him and make it into the semi-finals. where he managed to gain a very respectable first place and make it into the grand finale where he is now. And finally, we have SVT. In round 1, he had a very intense battle for first place between him and Muka, which he ended up winning as he managed to pull a last-second overtake on Muka. In round 2, he pretty much managed to cruise his way into round 3. Not much else to say there. And in round 3, despite getting punted into oblivion twice, he still managed to earn the easiest first place in his tournament history. And in the semi-finals, the economy tires caused him to hit the pit lane at the final lap. But despite that, he didn't actually end up doing an AI fail moment, but instead, he drove away from the pit lane into the finish line, making it to the grand finale. Oh, SVT is a lucky bastard. Anyways, now that we appreciated how everyone managed to make it here, let the grand finale begin! So, the first race is at beginner course. And if you're wondering, I did some off-screen qualifiers to decide who places where. Except Mad Jester because I know he would just be first in every race. Anyways, I wish all 6 of you good luck in the grand finale because it's gonna be pretty chaotic. Right off the bat, HW and D2V try to overtake Night Drive but don't seem to be succeeding as of right now. Meanwhile, Night Drive is doing everything he can to not get overtaken. And here comes the main obstacle for this track, the Death Pit, which everyone managed to successfully avoid it as of right now. Oh, and also Mad Jester managed to overtake HW in the back, and now switches his focus to trying to overtake D2V, which isn't gonna be an easy task, given that D2V isn't willing to give up easily. And while these guys are busy battling each other, Night Drive took this opportunity to pull away from them a bit, and now is trying to catch up to Julie Kanoto but doesn't seem to succeed as of right now. And from what I can tell, everyone successfully made it past the Death Pit into the 3rd lap. In the front, you can see SVT is not trying to focus on winning, but rather not going wide. Matter of fact, I think everybody's not focused on winning, but rather not going wide off the track, as this track is pretty hideous to drive on. Combine that with comfort tires and you have yourself a terrible driving experience. Anyways, it seems like I've underestimated the AI's driving skills on this track, as none of them have died on the Death Pit yet. Anyways, I guess Night Drive is using these terrible tires to his advantage, just like last time. Currently in first place is SVT, but will things change on the Death Pit? We're about to find out. And I see D2V and Mad Jester managed to catch back up to Night Drive, but the same cannot be said about HW, however. In the front, you can see Mad Jester almost went wide on the Death Pit, but Mad Jester isn't gonna let that stop him from trying to overtake D2V. Meanwhile, in the front, there's not much else to say, as the winner of this race is pretty much guaranteed. Or is it? Remember, SVT still needs to make it past the Death Pit in order to be first. And he manages to do just that, claiming first place with Julie Kanoto in 2nd, Night Drive in 3rd, D2V in 4th, Mad Jester 5th, and HW in last. Now, to determine the ultimate winner, we're gonna be using a point system. A point system invented by me. So first place gets a number of points equal to the amount of racers, and we subtract 1 point as the positions get lower. It's really simple and very easy to remember. Anyways, let's move on. For the second race, we're doing 3 laps around Laguna Seca in road tires. Ah yes, a track known for its infamous corkscrew. Anyways, let's begin this race with a tire compound you've all been suggesting. Right off the bat, Mad Jester tries to catch up to D2V but doesn't succeed. Meanwhile in the front, HW manages to successfully overtake Night Drive, which, given how poorly HW did in the last race, he really needs to step up his game if he wants to win. Which is why he's now getting competitive and is not messing around anymore. Meanwhile, Julie Kanoto is just chilling for now due to getting first place in the qualifiers. As for Night Drive, his S2000R1 is really pushing his cock-blocking skills to its absolute limit, preventing SVT and Mad Jester from overtaking him for a bit. And also allowing D2V, who placed last in the qualifiers, to catch up as well. However, Mad Jester isn't gonna let Night Drive stop him from getting the podium, as he managed to overtake him on this uphill section. And then Night Drive also got overtaken by SVT on the motor wagon's worst nightmare. And here comes the main obstacle for this course, the corkscrew, which apparently doesn't seem to be so deadly like it was in GT2 and GT3. Anyways, so far it looks like everything is working in HW's favor, as he managed to overtake everyone on the first lap, which definitely makes up for slacking in the last race. Meanwhile in the back, Night Drive is already falling behind. I guess the underdog story is already over. Meanwhile, D2V and SVT have some unfinished business. While they both sort that out, Mad Jester is already overtaking Julie Kanoto, meaning that HW has a huge problem on the horizon. He knows that his specialty is top speed, so he tries to gain some time over him in the corners, which actually worked, allowing HW to build some time over Mad Jester. Meanwhile, SVT tries to overtake Julie Kanoto but can't because he keeps cock-blocking him, and D2V is just struggling to keep up with the road tires. And in front of D2V you can see SVT struggling to overtake Julie Kanoto. I guess now SVT knows how Julie Kanoto felt when he was stuck behind Thunderstorm Gaming. Meanwhile, Mad Jester is slowly but steadily catching up to HW without HW realizing that he's about to become his worst nightmare of this tournament. It's not like they're actually beefing. Anyways, we entered this corner and SVT finally manages to overtake Julie Kanoto. But that doesn't change the fact that D2V managed to catch back up to him. Either way, SVT can still try to catch up. But these two managed to pull so far away that I highly doubt he will. And it looks like HW's cornering strategy is working, surprisingly. Meanwhile in the back, SVT is once again trying not to go off the track like he did in the previous race, which almost ended up being the case. Meanwhile, D2V still has to deal with how terrible the AI is at overtaking on this track. And even if Night Drive doesn't win, it's still quite shocking that he made it here. Meanwhile, HW is fighting for his life against Mad Jester as they both make their way into the third and final lap. And there's even a possibility of SVT joining the battle, although I have no idea if SVT will be able to pull that off given his carefulness with the road tires. And as for D2V, he successfully managed to overtake Julie Kanoto, and now he heads off to catch back up to SVT, which isn't really gonna be easy for D2V, given that SVT has already built up a decent margin over him. Meanwhile in the front, the battle between Mad Jester and HW continues as they make their way towards the uphill section, with SVT not too far behind both of them. Anyways, now that he made it to the speed section, HW is gonna do everything to defend his first place from Mad Jester, both making their way to Motor Wagon's worst nightmare while SVT is struggling to catch up to them. But you know, there's still a possibility of an AI fail happening, allowing SVT to catch up to one of them, which isn't impossible given how stupid the GT4 AI can sometimes be. Anyways, the battle for first place continues, as HW and Mad Jester both make their way towards the finish line. As for SVT, whoa, that was really close to an AI fail moment. But yeah, despite being able to catch up to them, I don't think he'll be able to overtake either of them. Anyways, Mad Jester now has a chance to pull a last-second overtake on HW. But will that actually end up being the case? Well, looks like the answer is no. And just like that, HW's in first, Mad Jester's second, SVT's third, D2V's fourth, Julie Kanoto's fifth, and Night Drive got last place. And with the second race over, here are the results, and here's the updated leaderboard. Now let's move on to the third race. For the third race, we're gonna be racing at Seattle Circuit. Oh, deja vu. Just like last race, we're gonna be doing 3 laps, except this time the AI is using sports medium tires. Right off the bat, Mad Jester goes all out to try to catch up to first place, and HW is getting cock-blocked by Night Drive. But not for long, as HW manages to overtake him on the next corner. But the same cannot be said about Mad Jester, however, as Mad Jester tried to overtake but Night Drive said no. And then Mad Jester tries to overtake again and actually succeeds this time. And now switches his focus to trying to catch back up to the others alongside HW, who already managed to catch up to Julie Kanoto. And now here we go onto the tight section of the track, where HW tries to catch up but doesn't succeed this time, and Mad Jester is struggling from the exact same problem on these tight streets of Seattle. Meanwhile in the front, D2V and SVT are just chilling due to getting first in the qualifiers, while Julie Kanoto is at the verge of being overtaken by HW, and Mad Jester joins the mayhem, as he manages to catch up to both of them on the straights pretty much instantly, and Mad Jester manages to overtake HW on these annoying 90-degree corners, while Julie Kanoto manages to pull away from them for a bit, before Mad Jester caught up to him and is gonna overtake him any second now. And HW in the back is trying to avoid physical contact with either of them, while Julie Kanoto is still cock-blocking Mad Jester, as D2V and SVT manage to pull away from them into the distance. But will things change on the second lap? We're about to find out. HW is still struggling to catch up to Mad Jester, who at the moment is, quite surprisingly, still stuck behind Julie Kanoto, as Julie Kanoto is cock-blocking him, preventing him from catching up to D2V and SVT. Oh, Gordo Racing will be proud. And that fact alone allowed HW to catch up to both of them, while Mad Jester finally manages to overtake Julie Kanoto on this uphill section, and watch as chaos unfolds on the podium. And now HW has to deal with trying to overtake on these tight streets of Seattle, as Julie Kanoto just proceeds to cock-block everyone behind him. But who knows, maybe he'll be able to score a 4th place using that strategy. And as for Mad Jester, I really didn't expect him to take that long to catch up to D2V, who at the moment almost completely zoomed off into the distance alongside SVT, who just always happens to be doing very well in these qualifying sessions. Anyways, it seems like Mad Jester managed to catch up to D2V a little bit, while HW managed to overtake Julie Kanoto, and now switches his focus to taking the podium away from Mad Jester, who at the moment is slowly but steadily catching up to D2V through these corners. without D2V realizing that he has a huge problem on the horizon. And as for SVT, given how far away he is from everyone, he shouldn't have any problems with Mad Jester's shenanigans. But we'll find out if that's the case on the third and final lap. As you can see, HW made absolutely no progress in catching up to Mad Jester. And I know you can't really see it, but D2V is now battling for second place against Mad Jester. Or at least that's what it looks like is happening. And into the uphill section we go. Will D2V be able to hold off Mad Jester? And will HW be able to catch up? We're about to find out. Luckily for Mad Jester, the GT1 didn't f*** up turn 4 like it did many times in GT2, and that fact alone allowed him to catch up to D2V's Nismo, and now both are battling for first place. And as for HW, I think at this point he just gave up at trying to catch up to Mad Jester. And now for the moment of truth. Will D2V be able to hold off Mad Jester on the long straights? I can only guess this is really nerve-wracking for D2V, and it looks like he actually managed to hold him off for a bit. But unfortunately, not enough to prevent Mad Jester from overtaking him. Meanwhile in the back, HW is still in 4th, as there's nothing he can do to place any higher. And as for D2V, I guess he'll have to settle for 3rd place, while Mad Jester is off to overtake SVT. But wait, where is SVT? Oh, what? He's already at the finish line? Well, I guess SVT managed to win the race once again. And I guess Mad Jester just cruises to the finish line and gets 2nd place. While D2V gets 3rd, HW gets 4th, Julie Kanoto gets 5th, and Night Drives last again. And with the 3rd race over, here are the results, and here's the leaderboard as of the 3rd race. Now let's move on to the 4th race, a high-speed one, which is held at Le Mans Circuit with chicanes. Also, we're doing 2 laps with sports mediums again. Anyways, right off the bat, SVT manages to overtake Julie Kanoto and takes the 1st place for himself. Meanwhile in the back, Night Drive is just doing some good old cogblock activities. And HW managed to overtake him, but he overtook HW back. Or at least he tried to. While he's at it, he has the opportunity to slow down Mad Jester for a bit, which was an opportunity he definitely took, but not for long, as Mad Jester manages to overtake him on this high-speed corner, while HW took this time to try to catch up to the others. While D2V tries to overtake Julie Kanoto on this corner but fails miserably, allowing Julie Kanoto to stay in 2nd for a bit longer. And in 1st place is SVT, who managed to build a comfortable lead over everyone else. A lead that he'll definitely need with his shit top speed. Meanwhile, there's a 4-way battle for 2nd place between Julie, Mad Jester, HW, and D2V, which is very intense to say the least. Mad Jester manages to overtake Julie Kanoto and HW manages to overtake D2V. And now HW tries to overtake Julie Kanoto but can't because Julie Kanoto proceeds to cogblock him. Meanwhile, Mad Jester is going all out on the straights to try to catch up to SVT. And I know you can't really see it, but D2V and HW are battling for 3rd place, as they both managed to overtake Julie Kanoto. I can only guess that Mad Jester is easily gonna catch up to SVT, given that top speed is his specialty, and SVT's top speed isn't really that good, while HW and D2V are battling for 3rd place, with Julie Kanoto not too far behind both of them. Meanwhile, Night Drive has already been left in the dust, Anyways, Mad Jester's battle against SVT continues as they both make their way into the Shizetta AI fail zone, or should I say, the braking zone. While SVT tries to gain some time over Mad Jester in the corners, Mad Jester tries to catch up to SVT with his excellent top speed. Meanwhile, HW and D2V are still battling against each other for third place, with Julie Kanoto not too far behind both of them, and Night Drive is sitting in last place as there's nothing he can do to place any higher. Meanwhile, SVT and Mad Jester are still having a battle against each other, which SVT is winning as of right now. But not for long, as the turns may be tabled soon. What? I don't know. For now, I can only speculate that the battle is gonna get more intense as the race goes on. Meanwhile, HW in the back managed to pull away from D2V a bit, but D2V isn't gonna let that stop him from trying to get a podium spot. Meanwhile, the Opera and the Amuse S2000s are kinda glad that they aren't part of this not mayhem. Anyways, after some corners, SVT managed to pull away from Mad Jester for a bit longer. And he might even be able to pull away from him even more, given that there's a series of upcoming corners. While Mad Jester is trying to take these corners quick and try to drive safely, which is very difficult to do on a track like Le Mans. Anyways, it looks like these corners are working in SVT's favor, as they allowed SVT to pull away from Mad Jester even more. But given that there's an upcoming speed section, Mad Jester might be able to catch up either way, which actually ended up being the case, as Mad Jester manages to catch up to SVT with his excellent top speed. Meanwhile, HW is chilling in third place as he managed to pull away from D2V a bit. Yet despite that, D2V is still not giving up on trying to get a podium spot. And now that HW managed to pull away from D2V, he switches his focus to trying to catch up to either Mad Jester or SVT, which isn't gonna be an easy task, given that both of them are very quick competitors. Meanwhile, both of which are still battling against each other for the win. Which, given that this track focuses on both good top speed and good handling, this is gonna be very interesting to see who comes out on top. Meanwhile, HW is trying to catch up to either Mad Jester or SVT, and D2V is trying to catch up to HW. And now both SVT and Mad Jester managed to make it to the straight, meaning that the race is gonna get even closer and more intense. And by the way, if this was the no chicanes layout, then Mad Jester would have already been first. Anyways, as they both make their way to the first chicane, the battle is only gonna get more and more intense. Alright, they're both making it down the straight. Let's see what's gonna happen. Hopefully nothing crazy. Oh, Mad Jester tried to sabotage SVT by punting him off the track but didn't succeed. What a savage move from Mad Jester. Alright, now both SVT and Mad Jester make it onto the second straight, and we'll just see what happens. I guess now that Mad Jester finally managed to catch up to SVT, he's gonna try to overtake him. And it looks like Mad Jester managed to do just that, with Mad Jester taking first while SVT fell down to second. And he's now trying to get his first place back. Meanwhile, HW now has a chance to try to catch up to SVT, given that his top speed is not that great. Meanwhile, D2V is still trying to catch up to HW despite him already zooming off into the distance. Meanwhile, we already know that Julie Kanoto and Night Drive are not gonna win, but still, congratulations for making it to the grand finale. Meanwhile, the battle between Mad Jester and SVT continues as they both make their way to the braking zone, which is all the same. SVT makes it past this corner and tries to catch up to Mad Drester, but ends up getting out-accelerated instead. I guess now SVT knows how I felt when I tried to beat European Hot Hatch League using a classic Mini Cooper. Meanwhile, HW is slowly, but steadily, catching up to SVT. As for D2V, I think at this point he just gave up at trying to catch up to HW, as HW already zoomed off into the distance away from D2V. Meanwhile in the front, the race is not over yet for SVT, as there's still a chance of him catching up to Mad Drester. I mean, the odds are low, but never zero, so there isn't really a point in not trying. Anyways, now that he has entered another speed section, Mad Drester uses that opportunity to pull away from SVT, which, from what I can see, worked flawlessly. But that still doesn't get rid of the fact that SVT still has a chance to catch up to Mad Drester. In the meantime, HW tries to catch up to SVT while he still can. Meanwhile, D2V is just chilling in 4th, as there isn't really anything he can do to place any higher. And same goes for Julie Kanoto, who's in 5th place, and Night Drive, who's in last place. Anyways, it looks like SVT wasn't able to catch back up to Mad Drester, which means that now all Mad Drester has to do is make it through these last sets of corners and he'll be clarified first. And just like that, Mad Drester takes the dub for this race, while SVT still finishes with a respectable 2nd place, while HW's 3rd, D2V's 4th, Julie Kanoto's 5th, and Night Drive is in last place. With the 4th race out of the way, these are the results, and here's the leaderboard as of the 4th race. Now let's move on to the 5th and final race on the one and only Nürburgring Nordschleife. For everyone else, if they want to win this race, it's all up to their AI cars. If Mad Drester wants to win this race, however, it's all up to me and my terrible driving. Now, this may seem unfair at first, but there are actually some benefits to this, but we'll get to that later. Right off the bat, Mad Drester uses his car's power to his advantage, which allowed him to catch up to Julie Kanoto and overtake him, and switches his focus to trying to catch up to 1st place, while D2V is struggling to overtake Night Drive, who once again is cock-blocking him. Wait, what is Mad Drester? I guess that's one way to do it. Anyways, I guess whatever he just did allowed him to catch up to HW and SVT a bit, both of which at the moment are having a very intense battle for 1st place. And I guess Mad Drester joins the battle, as he manages to catch up to them on the high-speed corners pretty much instantly. And now Mad Drester tries to overtake SVT, but ends up getting cock-blocked instead. He patiently waits for an opportunity of an overtake to open up, and he takes it. And now he tries to catch up to HW, who managed to build a decent gap over him, although I do think it's gonna take him a while. Wait, what is he do? Oh, HW gets punted off by Mad Drester. Now this was the benefit I was talking about, of making the race a lot less predictable. And now he heads off to catch up to SVT, who at the moment is just chilling in 1st place due to easily being able to avoid the crime scene. And now SVT tries to pull away from Mad Drester and avoid physical contact with him, but that was clearly a mistake, who got punted off the track in order to make the race a lot less predictable, getting overtaken by HW, D2V, and Night Drive almost, who at the moment is in 5th place, preventing Julie Kanoto from overtaking him. And Mad Drester's terrible driving allowed Night Drive to overtake him and also allowed Julie Kanoto to catch up to him. Although Night Drive's overtake was useless, as Mad Drester manages to overtake him back pretty much instantly, while SVT is trying to get his 1st place back after getting punted off the track by Mad Drester. which isn't gonna be an easy task, given that D2V and HW aren't gonna give up easily. SVT tries to overtake, but ends up getting cock-blocked by D2V instead, and HW uses that opportunity to pull away, and Mad Jester is able to catch back up to both of them using his excellent handling, although oversteer is gonna be a problem for him. What is that? Mad Jester punts SVT into the barrier, who flew into D2V, almost causing him to go off track as well. I guess whatever happened behind the Nismo allowed it to pull away from SVT for now. And it looks like HW and D2V are having a yet another battle, but this time it's for first place. And I guess the opportunity of Mad Jester joining the battle is a must-take. The high-speed corner comes around and Mad Jester tries to overtake D2V but doesn't seem to succeed. He tries to overtake him again on the braking zone and actually succeeded this time, but D2V overtook him back. Either way, Mad Jester is off to catch up to HW, who at this point almost completely zoomed off into the distance. In the meantime, SVT's trying to overtake D2V to get a spot on the podium, which, like I said a million times already, D2V isn't gonna give up easily. Meanwhile, Mad Jester manages to catch up to HW and now is pushing him off the track to try to slow him down? I guess whatever he's doing seems to be working, as D2V and SVT manage to catch up to both of them. It's such a funny thing how a two-way battle between D2V and HW has turned into a four-way battle for first place, which I'm only guessing is gonna get more intense as the race goes on. And oh, HW gets punted off the track again, allowing D2V to take first place and SVT to take second, causing this already interesting battle to be even more interesting. Onto the carousel we go, and HW gets punted by Mad Jester again, slowing him down even more, and as you can see, Mad Jester almost got karma there. Meanwhile, Julie Kanoto and Night Drive are probably glad that they're not a part of whatever's happening in front of them. Anyways, now if D2V wants to win, he needs to play the blocking game, which turns out to be a success as of right now, preventing SVT from overtaking him and taking the first place for himself, with Mad Jester and HW not too far behind them. And now Mad Jester's gotta stop messing around if he wants to win. Mad Jester alongside HW tried to catch up to D2V and SVT, but they gotta be very careful on these corners if they want to achieve that, because one wrong move and it's all over for them. Meanwhile, D2V is still in first due to his successful blocking game, and because of that, Mad Jester manages to successfully catch up to SVT with HW not too far behind. Now here they all go past the YouTuber corner and into the scariest part of a Nordschleife lap. Now, it would be a-okay if you made a mistake on any other part of the circuit, while this part of the circuit punishes these small mistakes. And I'm saying this as a person who's had experience with the Nordschleife circuit. Anyways, it looks like Mad Jester's gonna pull an overtake on SVT, but the real question is, how is he gonna do that without making a mistake? The answer is very simple. He doesn't, as he pushes SVT out of the way, causing him to spin out, and then instantly gets karma after doing so, allowing D2V and HW to overtake both of them very easily. And as you just saw, SVT hit Mad Jester while trying to recover, causing him to lose even more time to SVT. And then he got hit by Julie Kanoto, causing him to almost spin out for the third time. Meanwhile, in the front, all D2V can really do if he wants to win is pray to God that HW doesn't overtake him on the home stretch, while all HW can really do is hope that the complete opposite of that happens. Meanwhile, the rivalry between SVT and Mad Jester continues as they both battle against each other for the podium spot, which, given that there's an upcoming straight, if you haven't been paying close attention, this may or may not end up being SVT's downfall, And as you can probably tell by now, Mad Jester goes all out on the straight to try to catch up to SVT. It could be Mad Jester who comes out on top. It could be SVT who comes out on top. Who knows? It's all really down to these final sets of corners. Here they both go under the bridge, and Mad Jester is approaching SVT at light speeds, overtaking him and taking the third place for himself. Meanwhile in the front, it looks like D2V finally managed to win against HW for once. And now all Mad Jester has to do is make it to the finish line before SVT. So there he goes, and Karma strikes once again, allowing SVT to take third place, while Mad Jester falls down to 4th. And just like that, I guess Oversteer ended up being Mad Jester's downfall. Meanwhile, Julie Kanoto is 5th and Night Drive is in last, although this time he actually manages to cross the finish line. Man, what a race. And now it's time to count up all the points and see who comes out on top. In last place is Night Drive with a total of 8 points. Although he may not have achieved much, it's still a big achievement that he made it to the finale. In 5th place is Julie Kanoto with 13 points. Although you didn't do much in the finale, still, congratulations for getting 5th place. And there's no 4th place. Instead, there's a tie for 3rd place between D2V and HW, both at 19 points. Congratulations to the both of you for getting 3rd place and having a rivalry that was very fun to watch. But now, it's time to determine the ultimate winner, which is SVT with an impressive 25 points, and Mad Jester is the runner-up with 21 points. But the real winner here is Night Drive for being able to make it to the grand finale despite being the slowest one here. Jokes aside, a promise is a promise. Here's your prize. Shout out to SVT and congratulations for winning the tournament. Go subscribe to him, he really deserves it. Thanks for watching the tournament, and thanks for all the support. It really means a lot to me. And with that being said, see you guys next time.